Hi, welcome to week 1 of term 2. This particular video we would have actually already watched in class, but I'm putting it up on YouTube just so you've got it there as a backup when you're studying for your SAC, which is of course next Thursday. So most of the content you already have down, but like I said, it's just there as a bit of a revision tool. So let's go through the stages of sleep. So the first stage of being asleep is actually being awake. So of course we go to sleep as we go to bed. We are awake to start with in bed, and during this period of time you would produce beta waves, which are very low amplitude, and remember that word amplitude is talking about the height, so very low waves or little waves, but they're very fast and have a high frequency. So F for frequency, F for fast. So they're beta waves and we produce them when we're awake. We have normal body temperature, we have normal control of our body, its movement, and lots of eye movements, but you can also focus, and you're able to focus your attention or divide your attention depending on what you're doing. So that's what we're like when we're awake. As we become drowsy, a couple of things change. So we start to produce alpha waves, which have a slightly lower frequency and a slightly higher amplitude than the beta waves. Not a big difference, as you'll remember when we went to the sleep lab. For us, as non-specialists, it was very hard to see the difference between beta and alpha waves. For this reason, they probably won't ask you to do that on an exam, but still know the description. So lower frequency, which means they're slightly slower than beta waves, and higher amplitude, they're slightly higher than beta waves. You will also experience a drop in your heart rate as you start to fall asleep. Your muscles become slower and heavier, and of course your eye movement will start to slow down as well, and you'll find that your selective attention, it might be difficult to actually focus on a particular task because you're starting to drowse or doze off. The first stage of sleep is called stage 1 NREM, which of course we know stands for non-rapid eye movement sleep. This is often called the hypnagogic state, which is when basically we have quite vivid visual images happening as we're falling asleep. In particular, you get the hypnic jerk if you fall asleep too quickly, and that's that sensation of your body falling and then you kind of having that shock as you wake up, or perhaps that something's been thrown at you. And basically this is your body doing a quick check to make sure that you're not dying because you're going through the stages of sleep too quickly. This stage only usually lasts 5 minutes anyway, so it's only a quick stage, and if you're woken in this stage, people usually deny that they're actually asleep. So quite often people will be on the couch and, no, I'm still watching that TV program, when in fact they've actually missed the last 5 minutes. The alpha waves start to be replaced by theta waves. So theta waves are quite medium in terms of both amplitude and frequency, so they're bigger again and slower again than the alpha waves. Tend to have slow rolling eyes, muscles become quite relaxed, and your heart rate and your breathing rate decreases. Stage 2 of non-REM sleep, this is when we say true sleep begins, and 20 minutes is spent here in the first cycle of sleep. It's different for the next few cycles. The two distinguishing features of stage 2 sleep are K complexes and sleep spindles. So that's what any sleep researcher is looking for. Once they see them, they know that the person's headed into stage 2 non-REM sleep. K complex is one single high amplitude wave, and the sleep spindle is basically a really quick burst of high frequency wave, so a really messy wave. Your eyes stop rolling, so less eye movement. Muscles become more relaxed again, heart rate and breathing rate decreases again, and we spend about 50% of our total sleep time in this stage throughout the night. Stage 3, non-REM sleep, this is when we start to experience deep sleep, also known as slow wave sleep, and of course, because it is quite deep, we're less responsive to what's happening in the environment. And if you're woken during this stage, you tend to feel really disorientated. You might not know what time it is, you might not know where you are, or why you've been woken up. Delta waves become more common, so they're the high amplitude, low frequency waves, and they make up about 20 to 50% of this stage of sleep. So theta waves are still in there, but nearly half are becoming delta waves. Basically little or no eye movement, muscles are extremely relaxed, and heart rate and breathing rate becomes slower and regular. In stage 4 sleep, it's very similar to stage 3 sleep, except that now delta waves make up over 50% of this stage. So once more than half are delta waves, that's when you said that you're in stage 4 sleep. So it's the deepest stage of sleep. The first time you go into stage 4, you spend about 30 minutes here, the first time during the night. I've already spoken about the delta waves. You have little or no eye movement, hence it's still a non-rapid eye movement stage of sleep. Your heart rate and breathing rate are at their slowest and your muscles are extremely relaxed. So they're the 4 cycles of sleep, but not including REM. But before I talk about REM, I just want to remind you about how we go through our stages of sleep. So remember, we go from stage 1, 2, 3, and then 4, but we don't then go into REM. We cycle back up through the stages. So we go to 3 to 2, sometimes into stage 1, although very rarely do you go into stage 1 again after the first time. So quite often it goes 4, 3, 2, REM, 2, 3, 4, and 3, 2, REM, and so on. And then the stages won't become as deep as the night goes on. You tend to only go into stage 3 and 4 in the first couple of cycles of sleep, and then after that you tend to spend a lot more time in both the second stage of non-REM and then of course REM sleep as well, which we'll talk about now. So REM sleep, of course, stands for rapid eye movement. The first cycle of REM tends to last for about 10 minutes. REM sleep is lighter than stages 3 and 4, and the brain is very active during this stage. It's often called paradoxical sleep because the person appears as though they're very calm on the outside, but they're very active. And the reason we know that they're very active is that their EEG resembles being awake and produces waves that are referred to as beta-like waves or sawtooth waves. Never in an exam say that REM sleep displays beta waves. You will get that wrong. We only have beta waves when we're awake, but during REM sleep we have beta-like waves or sawtooth waves. They're the 2 ways you can describe the waves in REM sleep. Our heart rate, blood pressure and breathing rate increase back to normal during REM sleep. Your muscles are paralysed or almost paralysed. You still do have some basic movement, and this is often called muscle atonia or cataplexia. And basically it means that you can't act out your dreams. And we know that most dreaming occurs during this stage, about 80% of it. They do believe that some dreaming occurs in non-REM sleep, but we tend to not remember that dreaming. So most of our dreaming that we'll remember happens in REM sleep. Okay, so that's it in terms of the stages of sleep. Hopefully that has clarified some things and you've got a really good understanding of those stages. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.